Okay, we are back with the fellas. 1 week off. We are back for part two of lessons learned. Also, some huge free agency news or big trade, actually, rather with DJ Moore going to the Bills. We got David Montgomery going to the Texans, and we'll talk about some other stuff that's been going on in the NFL as well, and continue our part two series of lessons learned. So, appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Like, subscribe, share. We are getting ready already for the 2026 season. Some people are best balling away. I see the NFFC has best ball going on already. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. And we'll see if Steve joins us tonight. He's in like 25 gorillas already, which is insane. But yeah, we'll see who jumps in tonight. But I appreciate everybody listening. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get right into the DJ Moore trade. So share your feelings, whatever you want to do. Fantasy Savvy on X. Let's go. Okay, we're back. We got Joe, Dan, and Josh with us tonight. And huge news in the NFL. DJ Moore getting traded to the Buffalo Bills. Huge contract for DJ Moore. I'm sure the Bills will maybe figure out a way to finagle that a little bit, but obviously that was, a main reason why the Bears probably moved off of him. It wasn't really producing much, which is 680 yards last year. They brought in all those different weapons last year, so they still have a lot there to work with. DJ Moore, a lot of controversy. Obviously, the last play against the Rams, did he dog it? Did he not? Different people have different opinions. Chase Daniel's been all over X bashing him, and then you guys got guys like Greg Cosell who says he didn't dog it. So, but interested to get your guys' inputs and thoughts on this trade and the fantasy impact of it all. He's 28 years old. He's going to turn 29 in April. He's not like he's not like he's not like a technician. He's not like a big time route runner, but where DJ Moore wins is, with his athleticism, with his speed, with his shiftiness, with his explosive playmaking ability. He can get downfield. He could beat a defense deep. He had that huge play against the Packers for the Bears this year. He made some big plays in the playoffs and throughout the season, but he's still getting kind of ridiculed on X. People are saying, he's going to be 30 soon. He's lost some explosiveness. I've heard people compare him to Deebo Samuel. So, Dan, I'll start with you. How do you feel about this deal with DJ Moore now on the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, it was interesting news today. I think the Bears did good getting that second round pick for a piece they weren't using. But my first reaction is this is probably the best this is the best quarterback that DJ Moore's played with. So I think it raises his value a little. I haven't seen any draft boards with him yet. I think I'm first initial impression. I think I'm pretty excited for DJ Moore this year. I've always been a DJ Moore fan. I agree with what you said that, this year, Steve, he got some negativity around him, but I think if he goes to the right situation, and they love using him in that short game, the end arounds, things like that. The Bills know how to use players like that. So
Right.
I think it's an upgrade. I mean, the Bills didn't have any receivers, let's be honest. So he instantly becomes the number one. I don't think it's going to affect Shakir Kincaid at all. I think they still have the same kind of roles. So overall, though, I think I like the move for DJ Moore. I like the move for the Bears. It was a heavy price for them to get a second round out of that. So I thought both teams did well in the trade.
Yeah, Joe, what are your thoughts?
This is very good for Josh Allen. That was my initial thought. You guys know how I feel about DJ Moore. I still consider him a top 10 NFL talent. I don't think he's lost a step. I don't think he's washed. If he's used properly, he can do some damage. And his touches are way down the past couple of years. I think with Buffalo, he can get back up over 80 receptions. If he does that, he's going to be a smash in fantasy football. And he's just going to be is such a great addition for the Bills. As a Patriots fan, I hate to see it because I've been begging for the Patriots to make a move for DJ Moore for almost 2 seasons now. His current best ball ADP was like round 9, round 8, round 9, round 10 in some drafts. That's going to go way up now. I think you probably find him in the 4th or the 5th round to start. And I think as it gets closer to August and we see some action with him and Josh Allen in action, he could steam up even higher, maybe to the beginning of the 4th round, the 3-4 turn possibly. But it'll be interesting to watch where he goes initially. But yeah, I'm excited for DJ Moore. I hate to say it, but the Buffalo Bills got the upper hand on the Patriots now. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I honestly hope they don't pay over Alec Pierce, but it's kind of sounding like that way. I think that they need to really, really pursue A.J. Brown aggressively. But that's just my opinion. I think Drake May, it's time we get Drake May a true X wide receiver. I'm not confident in Alec Pierce being a true X wide receiver. So I think the Bills won the wide receiver race this year, and I think they have the upper hand on the Pats as of right now.
All right, Josh, what do you think, man?
I agree with these guys. I mean, it's an upgrade for the Bills for Josh Allen, and it's an upgrade for DJ Moore. And I'm kind of with Joe. I don't necessarily think that DJ Moore's lost a step as much as he got. I don't want to say disinterested, but there was just games where he seemed like he got tuned out a little. As Burton and the Doomsday came on pretty strong there. So whatever was going on in Chicago, that's done, and he's the guy in Buffalo now. So should be exciting. I mean, I think we all kind of talked about it towards the end of the season. Maybe DJ Moore landing there in Buffalo. So not a huge surprise, but I'm happy to see it. Happy for Josh Allen, and hopefully he sits back and throws the ball a little more.
Yeah, you can look at Moore's stats. I mean, he was putting up 1,000 yards with Kyle Allen, and I'm trying to think of some other quarterbacks back there. I was like Cam Newton when he was skying balls left and right.
Justin Fields, he had a top 10 fantasy season.
Justin Fields, yeah, he had 1,300 yards, as you can see here. And Fields missed a month. They had Tyson Badgett. I'll never forget DeAndre Hunter or Daniel Hunter basically smashed Fields and like broke his hand, and Fields missed a month. And then Badgett came in and was throwing like lollipop throws, and Moore had like 4 games with like 4 for 40 yards. So he could have even had a bigger season. He probably would have had like 1,500 yards and double-digit touchdowns. So yeah, he gets Josh Allen now. I remember way back when Diggs first went there. And Jacob saying, didn't the Bills get Diggs around the same age? I think Diggs was a little younger, maybe 26, 27 when he left Minnesota. But I remember when Diggs first went to Buffalo, people were like, well, Diggs isn't going to do anything because Josh Allen can't hit the broadside of a barn, and look how that worked out. I mean, that was an absolute electric connection. So, DJ Moore, like you, Dan, I've always loved the guy. I've kind of stayed off him depending and been on him depending on who the quarterback is. And, we've kind of been looking for that Bills stack, that one like true stack to find. And it hasn't been through the receivers the past couple of years. It's, we bet on Shakir, we bet on Kincaid. It hasn't hit. It's been the James Cook, Josh Allen show. So, this DJ Moore, Josh Allen stack is going to be pretty interesting this year. I think DJ Moore, I think the argument is kind of fair. He does rely on his speed, his explosiveness, his strength. that could wear down, maybe in 2-3 years. But that's all the Bills need. They're in a Super Bowl window here. They need 1 or 2 good years out of him while they continue to build the rest of the offense around him. And like you said, Dan, it matches up with their offense through the screens. Joe Brady gets all that shit for throwing 97 screens a game, but he has familiarity with DJ Moore from Carolina as well. So they know what kind of player he is. I think it's a good fit. I think DJ Moore, he also gets a lot of shit for being, taking off plays or, being a head case. But I really don't remember anything in Carolina that wasn't big. I don't really remember too much from the Bears other than last year. Like when he first started to play with Caleb, and he definitely just didn't seem happy about it. I don't think he ever wanted Fields to leave, but then I think this year he was, he was a little bit more of a willing player, and he made some huge plays for them. But, to have only 680 yards and play a full season is just kind of perplexing. And I don't think that was his reason. I mean, Caleb missed a lot of throws. They utilized Loveland. They ran the ball a lot. They had Bird in there as well. And then, even Zacchaeus was getting a decent amount of action, but this guy hasn't missed a freaking game since 2021. He's played through a lot of different injuries. People were saying he was even concussed in that Rams game. So who knows? But I think you're getting a tough, durable, athletic, strong player. This is the best receiver that Allen's had by far since Diggs. This is a huge upgrade for them. And, I thought Alec Pierce would have been a nice fit for them. And if the Patriots do land Pierce, he might not be a true number 1, but I do think he'd be a nice combo with Drake May. And I think wherever Pierce ends up, he's going to be a good asset. But yeah, I mean, is there any other thoughts? You guys want to dive in a little bit more on this pickup for the Bills?
He left out that he scores touchdowns. I do think now I'm looking at that and I see 7, 8, 6. I think 9's within reach.
Not one double-digit year yet for him.
Yeah.
So I like what Steve said in the comments there. Are the Bills done? Do they go after Mike Evans or somebody like that maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I just don't know, with DJ's salary, I don't know. It seems like their cap situation isn't great. They could certainly draft somebody. But, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking they were going to get like a Shaheed and an Evans maybe. I was saying DJ Moore could be a good pickup for them, but I wasn't really expecting it to happen like this so soon. But yeah, I don't think the Bills should be done. I think they should continue to add because you got Shakir, you got Kincaid, but I would still build that wide receiver room. There's still some, very, very underwhelming players there.
Steve G says maybe Dobbs. Yeah, I actually would rather the Patriots have Dobbs than Pierce. To be honest with you, I think it fits better.
Yeah, I kind of like Pierce, man. I feel like he's really, I kind of like him as a player. I saw him roast the Texans 2 or 3 times, and when you could do that against the Texans defense, I think you're the truth. So, Dobbs is a good player too. I don't know. I think I favor Pierce a little bit more, but it's fairly close. All right. Well, if that's it for the DJ Moore talk, you guys want to touch on David Montgomery going to the Texans. So one thing, it opens up for Gibbs now in Detroit. A lot of people are saying he's the consensus number 1 pick in fantasy now with Montgomery out of the way. Do you guys all agree with that?
I think he's got to make it through free agency and at least free agency first. The draft, I'm not so much worried about, but if he gets through free agency, I mean, he's still going to be a top 3, top 4 pick any way you look at it. So it's not like, you're overspending here. No matter where you pick him, it doesn't make a difference. So I have no argument with taking him at 1. I have no argument in picking him. People have been picking him at 3 or 4. He's a top 4 pick any way you look at it. But I want to see what they do and how they replace David Montgomery.
Yeah, Dan, what do you think? You think they're going to bring somebody else pretty substantial in that room, or draft somebody?
100%. I agree with Joe there. That's what me and Josh were talking yesterday, the day before. Everybody's saying Gibbs 400 touches. They're not. Campbell's smarter than that. He's going to get somebody in there to take those 8 or 10 carries away. like a Tyler Algier would be a perfect fit in that offense.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Or they draft someone.
That is a good example. Yeah.
That's just the first name that popped in my head. But like somebody of that, I really want him to go to Cincinnati, just for a side note. But somebody that's going to take those 8-10 carries with a little bit of experience. You can't give Gibbs. You'll kill him before the end of the season if you're giving him 30 touches a game. But yeah, absolutely. I think that they do replace him with somebody.
How about you, Josh? Do you think they're bringing somebody? Do you think that Gibbs is should be number
I
one
like
pick?
I like the Algier going to the Lions. I think that's a good fit. But I don't know. My comment to Dan was, can Jahmyr Gibbs be any more to the moon when they trade than he already was when they traded Montgomery away? And Dan's like, can you really give the guy what'd you say, like 2,000 touches or something crazy? But I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it changes them too much. They'll get somebody else in there, but I mean they definitely want to go with Gibbs and they want to feed him. And if you give the guy 400 touches and win a Super Bowl, you can't hate on him too much for that. So I don't know. But I have no problem with Gibbs at the one.
Yeah.
Sean Tucker.
Yeah, that'd be a nice one.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying don't pay Kenny Walker and get a discount on Sean Tucker.
Yeah.
I want to see Tucker go to somewhere like Arizona and get a chance to be a number one running back on the team. Because I think he's better than Benson.
Yeah, Jacob brought up a good point in the comments there. Maybe we don't want Algier to go to Detroit. We don't want him to steal all of Gibbs' touchdowns.
I mean, Gibbs will probably still average 18 points a game.
He'll still be a top 2 pick.
That's what I said. It doesn't really change anything for me. Maybe his spike week. He'll have more consistent spike weeks, I should say, if he survives the draft. But
I think Jamal Williams had like 20 touchdowns that year, didn't he?
Crazy.
When Swift was there.
It was a crazy year. Yeah,
that was insane. I couldn't believe that. I was all in on Swift that year too, and I'm like, what is going on with Jamal Williams?
They have like 200 yards and 20 touchdowns or something. It was crazy. It was a crazy
like
stat.
12 or something that year.
So, what about Montgomery on the Texans? We drifted off there. What are your thoughts on this? You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't think it really affects Woody Mox all that much. I think he's still going to have a role in the offense. I don't think that makes him a good fantasy target, but it's just something to note that I don't think it's going to be Montgomery being a 3-down back. With that being said, I do like Montgomery on the Texans. I think he's going to have a little bit of a bump in usage, because he's not sharing carries with Jahmyr Gibbs anymore, obviously. Woody Mox is somebody that it's got to be preserved in order to stay healthy. We found that out last year. He gets banged up pretty easily when his volume was increased last year. So, I think it's great for David Montgomery. I don't think it affects Woody Mox all that much. I think you could still have Woody Mox on your fantasy rosters as like an RB3, RB4, flex bye week filler matchup play. If it's like the game script favors him, you can slot him in there at the flex spot. But that's my thoughts on the Montgomery running back to Montgomery, Houston, Texan running back situation.
Yeah, Dan, what do you think? You think Montgomery basically usurps him, or you think he could just kind of like make Woody Marks fantasy irrelevant, or you still want to go after a late round Woody Marks there?
I'll be honest, I'm not real excited about the Houston backfield unless they sign some offensive linemen. Woody Marks is screaming Damian Pierce to me. I think I'm off of him this year. The year Damian Pierce had like 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns, and because neither one of them had the draft capital. So you pay David Montgomery a little bit of money. Woody Marks is a 5th or 6th round pick. I think I prefer Montgomery over him, but I'm not excited about either one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think if I'm drafting anybody, it's Montgomery. I don't really like Woody Marks. He really didn't look that good, but that one playoff game, he brought it. I mean, that was like the best game he ever played. I kind of like Montgomery just because if the Texans, they do have to improve that offensive line because their offense was a hot mess last year. Down the stretch, especially in the playoffs, it was a disaster. So, but he's going to be the goal line guy. And, hopefully you think Stroud, maybe a little bit better protection, can get the ball down there and Montgomery's going to be the guy, but it does give them more physicality. Josh, what do you think?
My thoughts are this is bigger for real football than it is for fantasy football. Is kind of my thinking on it. I don't know. Maybe bumps Woody Marks down a little bit in my book, but I wasn't super high on him anyways. That was just kind of me and Dan collectively, not necessarily planning things out that way last year, but just neither one of us was super high on him. But I don't know. It depends on how they move the ball down the field. I mean, Montgomery can still get in the end zone and score some touchdowns and make himself somewhat fantasy relevant by doing that. He's definitely a talented back. And I know when me and Dan were talking before the show, I haven't heard, so I really don't know. But I was asking Dan about Mixon, if he was done, if they were cutting him, if they thought they were bringing him back.
Has there been any news on Joe Mixon at all? I haven't seen anything. I mean, I haven't looked at it, but I haven't seen anything on Mixon of late. I mean, we haven't heard basically anything in like a year. So
Yeah.
He's not on the free agency list, so he's under contract.
yeah, I don't know.
Jacob nails it in the chat. That's what I meant when I said Woody Marks is still going to have a role.
Yeah.
He was taking on too much volume, Steve. That's why he looked terrible because he's not a high volume running back. He's like a gadget slash I don't know.
To me, he's like a poor man's Devin Singletary. That's what he kind of reminds me of. But
It's a good call.
if they use him as a receiving back, I think that'd be smart with Montgomery. It's not like you really want to use Montgomery as a receiving back. So, yeah, he definitely could have fantasy value, and he could drop to the point where you're basically getting him for nothing. So, I mean, his stock's got to be way down now, right?
Yeah, that's what it probably is. Yeah.
All right. I don't know. I mean, the Texans' offense again was a complete shit show. CJ Stroud's got to do something. I mean, he's regressing after his rookie year the last 2 years. So that's going to be interesting. We got a lot of big names in free agency. Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne. We'll see where these running backs end up. Joe, Stephon Diggs released. I know you touched on Alec Pierce. What do you expect from the Patriots, or what do you want them to do at the receiver position?
I want them to aggressively pursue AJ Brown as plan A. Obviously, that's easier said than done. And yeah, you know what I mean. Like, the Eagles really have no reason to trade AJ Brown, so it's going to probably require a haul. So it's probably not going to happen. But I'm not surprised about the Diggs release. I don't think Mike Vrabel really cared for coaching the guy, to be honest with you. As the season was going on, you could kind of tell with his body language and his I don't know, the sound of his voice when people ask questions about him and stuff. So I don't think he wanted to be dealing with that anymore. That's just my honest opinion about that. Doesn't surprise me. Who knows if he's guilty or not? If he's gonna be suspended?
Your boy Josh.
I don't know if
Mixon.
he'll be playing next year or whatever, but I just want the Patriots to improve. They got to get somebody. I want them to get somebody that can establish themselves as an alpha wide receiver, as a go-to guy for Drake May, because as of right now, he's kind of got to spread it around like game by game plan, like. And I think it's making him take too many sacks. I don't want to say he does. He needs somebody that can just get the offense going. Boom, 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 boom. Like 3, 4, 5 plays. Let's get it going. Right now, that guy for him is Hunter Henry, and the teams that know how to take away the tight end from doing that, do that. And it's been difficult for the Patriots to have Hunter Henry as their number one option, especially on third downs and stuff. So Stephon Diggs, underwhelmed, I think. I was expecting a bigger season, or I should say a more consistent season out of him. He did start off slow. He had the injury, coming off the injury, so but and he did have some big games. He had a huge game against Buffalo in the revenge game, and
that game was insane.
He had a nice little 3 or 4 week touchdown streak going at one point, but he disappeared in the big time games in the playoffs. So I do think his outside world a little bit affecting his gameplay. So. Doesn't surprise me they released him. Who knows what he will end up next year if he even plays. That's to be seen. But I hope the Patriots just get somebody they can rely on.
Yeah, Dan, what do you think? You think the Patriots are going to go they think they can go with a veteran like Mike Evans, or even Juwan Jennings is turning 30 years old? Do you think they'll go a little younger with like a Dobbs or a Alec Pierce? I mean, that kind of makes more sense, right?
I think you stole my name. The name I've been thinking about is Juwan Jennings. I thought he would fit that offense pretty well. He'd be a reliable target for May. I didn't realize he was that old, so maybe they do go after Dobbs or Pierce. I know what Joe said, and I agree. A.J. Brown costs too much. He's costing a first plus. If I got Drake May on a rookie contract, we know that rookie deal in those first couple of years is the Super Bowl window. Like, make a push. Throw something to Philly they can't say no to, and sign A.J. Brown and have a 2-year window right now to go win another Super Bowl. But yeah, they're going to get somebody. They're going to get a Dobbs. They're going to get a Pierce. They're going to get a Jennings if they don't get Brown. If they don't get 2 of them, they at least get 1.
Steve G says A.J. Brown to the Pats, Devontae Smith to the moon.
Oh, I'll have so much Smith if that happens.
I'll be a little wary of it because I don't think Devonta Smith can hold up for a full year of high volume.
He's a little skinny.
Oh, he's
skinny back man.
He will have so much Smith, Josh.
I would take the chance on him one time for sure.
I would too.
Yeah,
the only person I don't know if I can trust is Hurts. I don't know if I can trust Hurts.
I draft them every year. Maybe see what they add. If they did that, who would they replacing AJ Brown with? That would be interesting, and then maybe I'll assess if I'm in on Devonta Smith. But yeah, Devonta Smith by himself scares me. I'm not gonna lie.
I do kind of like Devonta Smith. I think that he could be more like a low end number 1. But Jalen Hurts is not like the ideal quarterback, but if he's the only real guy there, he's going to get a lot of targets. Obviously, A.J. Brown demands a lot. A.J. Brown, I feel like he's going to get moved. I don't know. That's kind of my feeling. What do you think, Josh?
Does Mike Vrabel want A.J. Brown again?
Yeah, was that his making, or was that the GM's making?
Know. Yeah. I don't really know, because wasn't that happened right before Vrabel's last season there? Am I right?
Basically, I mean, I don't know why Vrabel would want to move off a player like AJ Brown.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
Traylon
That's,
Burks
you
is still
know,
a free agent. They can go get him again.
Word on the street is him and Vrabel kept in touch all season.
what did you say, Dan?
I mean,
Who's available?
So Traylon Burks.
Oh, Traylon.
He's a free agent.
Traylon Burks. That guy cannot stay healthy. It's just like he's just hurt every time he touches the field. It's terrible.
I don't know. AJ Brown to the Patriots. I mean, Joe was calling for that, you know, a couple weeks before the trade deadline last year, and he's a Pats fan, and they had one heck of a run this year.
They couldn't make it happen.
So,
they couldn't make it happen. I heard
mean,
they tried. They would
make it happen now. Dan brought up a good point. Like they've got a Super Bowl window here, and you go for it.
So that's what I said. That's my number one choice.
The only thing would be
is
if there's something, you know, it's something to him that just is going to be a cancer, and Vrabel doesn't want anything to do with that. You know, I don't know, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Steve says, Dan, you're definitely on your game. I hope I don't have to draft against you much this year. Dan's coming in hot.
He's in the zone right now.
Steve, me and you were in that one FFPC league, and you beat me out for the championship round by like the last 2 weeks. I think you passed me by like 1 point. I still made the playoffs, but I didn't get the automatic bid because you knocked me out of there in that one league. I think we were like in 3 or 4 leagues together this year. But yeah, that's going to be good. Don't toot Dan's horn too much, says Jake.
Just lighten up the chat there, Josh.
Dan's gonna be walking in high and mighty at work tomorrow.
It's our fault. It's our fault. We started talking about football together, and now he's putting everything together. He's stealing a little bit of everybody and adding it to his arsenal.
It's giving us some good stuff to focus on leading up to the kickoff of the official start of the season here this coming week.
Yeah. Steve D probably doesn't remember because he's in so many damn leagues. He's like, what the hell's going on? All right. Well, I think if there's any other free agents you guys want to talk about briefly that, whether at any receiver position, there's a ton of good tight ends. It's crazy how many good tight ends are out there. You got Njoku, you got Likely, you got Dallas Goedert. It's going to be interesting to see where those guys are. There's a lot of good players out there to pick up this year. I think, you could really build a nice little mold with some of these players that are out there. Wan'Dale Robinson's also out there. Be interested to see where he ends up. Chig Okonkwo, another one. So yeah, a lot of guys out there. It's going to be very, very interesting. We'll probably start gearing up talking about free agency as that continues to develop in the next coming weeks. But I guess if that wraps it up, anybody got any other notes before we get into this part 2 here? Bring up this draft board.
George Pickens, franchised. Kyle Pitts, franchised. Daniel Jones, transition tag. And
yeah, we could touch on that real quick. How Pitts?
I just mentioned. I was gonna say. I was just mention it. We could touch on it.
Yeah, let's touch on it because I want to bring up Pitts first. Obviously, Pitts, everybody and their mother, the ultimate hype machine, best tight end ever, and he's had the 1,000-yard rookie season. Everybody invested him year after year after year and kept hyping him. And then everybody seemed like even the truthers finally gave up on him this year, and then he freaking finally delivers. Really gets hot down the stretch. Drake London injury kind of opened that up for a little bit. But would you rather target Drake London? I think he's going middle of the second round right now, or would you rather just wait and maybe get Pitts? I don't know exactly where Pitts is going right now, but which one of those players would you rather have, Dan? You could say I don't want either one too.
No, I love Kyle Pitts. I'm gonna be a sucker one more time. Stefanski, look at his record, Josh, with tight ends. Where Kyle Pitts is going, he's going after the big 5. I'll take him as tight end 6 every single draft.
All right, Josh, what do you think about Pitts?
I don't hate it. I was kind of hoping that he'd end up landing somewhere else outside of Atlanta, but I mean, he finally had a good season, and I kind of felt bad for the guy because he's super talented. It just wasn't working for him there for a few years. But
I just
He
think
had him blocking too much. He was blocking like a third of his plays.
And his route running was kind of sloppy, and he wasn't playing aggressive. I think you saw some fire out of him this year, and he was getting targeted, in like easier spots too. They were kind of manufacturing stuff, and Cousins was kind of the veteran that opened them up. So I don't know, like, what the quarterback situation. Penix is like a walking injury. Cousins is going to be another year older. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterbacks. That's why I'm a little uncertain. Like, the only guy I really trust right now in Atlanta, I mean, Drake London. Yeah, I think he's talented, but I don't know. I got, he kind of burnt me last year. I think the only guy I really trust is Bijan. Joe. Where's Pitts going? Do you know right now in best ball?
Yeah. Yep. So in the last 14 days, he was going as high as 45, and then he dipped a little this past week with to 57 overall. That's FFPC. Best all high stakes best ball drafts that have gone down on FFPC so far, courtesy of Player Profiler.
Yeah, Pickens. I mean, he got his act together a little bit last year. Still had some knucklehead moments here and there, but I mean, he really had his best season ever with the best quarterback. So I don't expect much to change there. Do you think there's a world where Pickens can kind of take over from CeeDee Lamb, or do you think CeeDee Lamb will always kind of have that number one spot? Josh, what do you think?
I don't know. Is Pickens good with the franchise tag? I mean, I haven't heard anything off of that, but I kind of I was expecting him to be pushing to get some real big money and not settle for that. But if he's happy with that franchise tag, then he likes being there with Dak and CD. I don't know. I know he balled out. He's definitely got the potential. It's just keeping his head in the game for the full season. Can he do that? I don't know. Both those guys are so freaking good. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can overtake. I'm hesitant to say he can overtake CD.
Yeah, I mean, Pickens for a while there, was kind of the thing. People were like, he's kind of taking over. He was on that stretch where he was just going off week after week. Who was the last franchise tag there, Joe? You want to discuss? Pitts, Pickens, and what was the other one? The big one?
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall, yeah. Danny Dimes transition tag.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Jets, the quarterback position. I don't think I'm drafting any Jets right now. If they get a quarterback I believe in, I'll probably get suckered into it, and then I'll get burnt again. But the Jets are just a freaking disaster still. So I don't even know. I don't know if I might not draft any Jets this year. I might just stay away. Unless I really, really, truly believe in the quarterback that's going to start for them. Maybe I'll go back in, but right now I don't think I could do it. I mean, Breece Hall is so talented, but I don't know. I don't know if I can trust the Jets. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
I love Garrett Wilson, but I'm not touching
I do too.
Until I see a quarterback.
Yeah.
Even an average quarterback.
I mean, I think Wilson probably is safe regardless. The thing that killed him last year is just got hurt.
Injury, yeah.
So as long as it's not freaking Tim Boyle throwing the ball, which could end up for the Jets once again. You never know with that shit show of a team. I mean, as long as it's not to that level, like Blaine Gabbert, Tim Boyle, I think he'll be okay. So I think I'd be more willing to invest in him. I still like Breece. We'll see where, obviously we'll see where he's going in drafts, as we get closer to the season, after the draft, after free agency. But
I wanted to mention one more interesting thing about Kyle Pitts and why we should be in on him this year. He's approaching age 26. He's currently 25 and a half. The late great Mike Tagliere once wrote an article on tight ends turning in the age apex, turning 25, 26, right in that wheelhouse is where a lot of them make a real like take another step forward, another jump in their level in their game. And we know that Kyle Pitts was one of the highest drafted tight ends ever.
Was this Pitt's 4th year?
So he's fifth.
It was his 5th. Okay.
Yeah. So he's entered. Yeah. It's going to be his 6th season, I believe.
Okay.
He's gotten a little bit better. He had 118 targets last year. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's a pretty good mark to have for that's tight end 1 status for sure. And like Dan said, he's going outside. He's being drafted as a tight end 8 right now, tight end 8. And we know his because of his talent, how high his talent level is, what his ceiling can be if he is to take another step forward.
Yeah, and now you got Stefanski in there, and Stefanski likes the tight end. Look what he just did with Fannin, and then you had Njoku before that, right? So I think Stefanski's an upgrade too, for the offense.
Absolutely.
He's a pretty good offensive mind. I was going to bring up Vernon Davis. He was one that, he was ultra talented when he first came out, and everybody was on. I loved him, but it took him 4 years to blow up. His first 3 years, he did nothing. And then his 4th year, he had 965 yards and 13 touchdowns. Then he had 3-4 good years behind that. So, I mean, yeah, it's really good. Pitt's kind of, it feels like he could really be on the upswing of his career. I mean, would you say he's 25 years old right now?
25 and a half, going to be 26 probably during the season. And, he's still playing for a contract.
Yeah. Jacob says, did you guys pay attention to the combine much? I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I know the one big thing was the Cornell Tate thing. The 40 time was kind of blown out of proportions. Do you guys have any thoughts on the combine at all?
I didn't pay that much attention. I'm not going to lie. I don't really study my own rookies until I get a good feel for them via some of the guys I trust first, and then I go in and validate, I suppose, and make my own adjustments along the way. I feel like that's a better process for me. I don't want to say I can't evaluate talent, because I can. It's just I got to cut a corner somewhere. So, and for the most part, a lot of the stuff doesn't matter until there's landing spots anyways. So,
right.
I kind of put the pieces of the puzzle of the rookies together between now and draft day.
Yeah, it's like the combines, like when you're playing Madden practice mode and there's no defense on the field, and you're throwing touchdowns every time, and then you go online and play against some guy that's played 200 games in his underwear and you get your ass kicked. So it's like that's kind of what I think the combine's a little bit like. But you guys are a fan of the combine, Dan or Josh? Any thoughts on it at all or no?
I know Josh and I are both really busy that week, but I watched Saturday or Sunday, whichever day had the running backs and the receivers, which was just kind of nice to watch some football.
Yeah,
I'm the same way. I don't really pay too much attention to. I see landing spots, but I did see the Washington kid, the running back. He shot up the boards. The other Notre Dame running back, Price, was really interesting to see. Everybody's talking about Jeremiah Love.
He's pretty good. That kid,
yeah,
Price.
I'm really curious to see where he lands. But other than that, I didn't watch a ton of it.
Yeah, Josh, you got any thoughts on that?
I don't watch the combine a ton, but I think there's some little details in there that you can pick up on stuff. Wide receiver, Lemon. Like, what? You're at the combine. Why are you? Was he dogging it or what's going on? But why? That's your chance to show what you can do. I don't know. That kind of stuff right there, it makes me go, I don't want nothing to do with that guy. I hope the Cincinnati Bengals don't want nothing to do with him either. Little things like that. But some the one year the Bengals drafted John Ross. He was the fastest guy at the combine. He had crazy speed, never did anything with it. And it's like every year there's the fastest guy, in so many years and this and that. And then not a whole lot comes from it. At least that first year seems like. So I don't know. I feel like once you see where they land at and who they're grouped with and their coaches and things like that, then you can start to get a feel for what they might actually be.
Yeah. Steve says, what do you guys think about the NFFC and FFWC? I like FFWC. I've been playing on it the past 3 years. I've had my most success there. Their format's a little bit different. You get 3 receivers, then you get 2 flex. So you could start 4 running backs there, 5 wide receivers, or 3 tight ends as well. The quarterbacks always seem to go later in their format as well. But I thought they ran a pretty good ship there. The drafts are always solid, good communication. They always paid on time. So, NFFC buying them out, I think, only expands NFFC, gets more players in there, and builds on high stakes fantasy community. I want to see, we'll be interested to see if FFWC will have their own separate formats. I think they will. But I know they're running that $100,000 contest now, which is crazy. But I think it's good. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it works out, but I don't have any qualms about it. How about you guys?
Pretty much the same that you said. I've never played on the FFWC, but I've heard good things from you. I've heard good things from Joey. I've also heard some bad things here and there, but I think the merger can only help. You made some good points. I think now you're combining the player pools together. Contest could be bigger. You finally get to draft against some different people. It's not the same NFFC animals that we deal with.
Right. Yeah,
you pretty much have
new heads in there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it could shake things up, make it interesting. Maybe I heard there was going to be a $100,000. Was it $100,000 buy-in league?
Yeah.
None of us will be in that, but I'm sure Nelson, that's like a Nelson Sousa, Chad Schroeder.
We could split a team, all 4 of us.
Steve might be in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool, man, because that is like the king fantasy football league right there. As far as high stakes, you're talking some real. It's a real big boy league. Like,
and I keep saying like high stakes is gonna I could maybe see it like on ESPN, like the drafts one day. If you have high, true crazy high stakes like that, you never know like the coverage it could get. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. I think more and more people as they play fantasy probably will want to get more out of their home leagues and start getting into these high stake leagues as they become, more familiar with them. So I think it's just going to keep blowing up. I mean, that's what I hope anyway. I kind of hope we're kind of on the early trend of it all. But we'll see. All right. Well, any thoughts there, Josh, or
Steve said he put a team in. He said he put a team in August 28th.
And that's the other thing is they're going to be at the Circa, which is pretty dope. I mean, that's probably the best sports book in Vegas, right, guys?
Sick. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, Tom and Greg are great guys. I'm pretty loyal to the NFFC, so I love to see them grow in their brand. It means they're going to be sticking around. So getting bigger and bigger payouts and things like that. So no, it's exciting. It's exciting for them and makes hopefully see New York grow and see Vegas grow for those big live drafts. And I mean, I'm a degenerate when it comes to either drafting or watching fantasy football drafts. So if that is August 28th at Circa is live streamed, I will be watching that.
That will definitely be live streamed, 100%. Yeah, that's gonna be a good watch for sure. I look forward to. Well, we'll see. Maybe it won't be live stream. I don't know. I hope it is. All right. Well, let's
Visa will air it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Visa maybe do it. All right. So we got to this kind of late, but we'll wrap up with this baby. We kind of went to the first, 5, 1 through 10. We could kind of focus on the later rounds now, maybe rounds 10 through 20 here. I'll start with you, Dan. Is there any names here? We'll start with Cam Scatterbo. He's getting a lot of, people are selling him in Dynasty because they're talking possibly drafting Jeremiah Love. Do you see the Giants possibly bringing in a running back, or do you think they'll stick with Cam and Tracy there?
That would be really interesting if they traded Scatterbo after 1 year. But I think Jeremiah Love is one of those generational talents. I mean, if you got a chance to go get him, I think you go get him. But right now Scatterbo is the lowest he's ever going to be. So I don't play Dynasty, but he'd be a guy to be targeted at a cheap price for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to drop because of this recent news, I'm going to be all in. Now, I don't know where he's at with the injury, but from what I remember, I think it was a pretty clean injury for him, from what he said. So I don't know if it's going to have any long-term effects. I think he should be ready to go. It was a pretty brutal injury, but we'll have to keep up on that. Any other names here, Joe? I'll start with you. Rounds 10 and below.
I can barely see it. Is that as big as it gets?
I can blow it up. Hold on. Let
me see if I do this. Hold on. Then I can't see the chat. It's okay. Yeah, all right. I can see it now. We're good.
All right. Go ahead.
What are we in? What are we doing? Rounds like 6
like rounds 10 through 20.
Oh, 10 through 20. All right. Do I see Quinshot and Judkins in round 10?
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be a good value.
I mean, this was last year, but I don't know where.
This was last year. All right, I'm thinking this is a this year best ball.
No, this was last year. Yeah.
Oh,
this
shit.
was I don't even know if it was announced if he was going to come back at this point. I don't even remember actually.
At this point, we didn't know. I don't think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
No, go ahead. I was going to say I don't know about Judkins, but I'm not really a huge fan. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. The Browns are a shit show, so I don't know. That's my early thought on it, anyway.
Drake May.
So can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can. So one thing that I noticed about rounds 10 through 20 is all the home run teams that were at the top of the standings, I feel like had a quarterback in this range, whether it was Drake May, Caleb Williams, or Matthew Stafford. Guys that were going, quarterbacks that were going real late in drafts last year. I think the people who leaned into that build really, really gave their position player, their running back, wide receiver, had depth. They were able to go wide receiver heavy if they wanted to. They were able to take a premium tight end because they waited on quarterback. If they leaned into that build, one of the observations. That's one of my observations from last year's draft board, and I think it's gonna affect the way people draft quarterback this year. I think you're gonna see a lot more waiting than normal this year. I think, with the exception of maybe Josh Allen and Lamar, the rest of the you could. I think they're all gonna. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the popular strategy this year. It's once again wait on quarterbacks. Probably going to have the highest ceiling build, the highest build. What I'm saying?
Look at Stafford last round to Sanda there.
Yeah.
No, if you think about it, it didn't make any sense because where Puka and Adams were going, It was like Stafford was just getting shit on.
I got Caleb Williams in the 16th round of the New York Live primetime. So
yeah, that worked out.
Freaking Stafford was
Lawrence worked out.
Season getting needles put in his back.
Yeah,
and
I know.
That freaked everybody out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you can get him in the last round, Santa made a hell of a pick there.
Yeah.
And he paired him with Puka.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, Lawrence worked out. Herbert was a nice pick. Even Bryce Young gave you some decent weeks. But Drake May, Purdy was nice when he was healthy. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the quarterbacks and also FFWC, like I mentioned, I did notice that the quarterbacks did go later. Now that wasn't 6 points per passing touchdown, but if they're going to keep their same scoring system, which is 4, you're going to see the quarterbacks go even later than FFPC. I remember Allen and Lamar, they go maybe like 4th, 5th round. Even later, actually 5th, 6th round sometimes. So, I'm just looking at the names. Some of these names, like, Tootin, Ollie Gordon. I don't know. I mean, people are just taking chances there. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk was a shit show. That's a lesson learned. Guy, holds out of camp, coming off an ACL injury. I understand, like, you get him in the 11th round, he could be the wide receiver 1, but I think that's just something you want to stay away from. Guys coming back late. Even McLaurin was another one, right? I mean, he was, held out. It just kind of affects these guys as they go into the season. So I think that's something to be leery of. So even, I don't know if Pickens gets mad about this franchise tag and like holds out all of camp somehow. I feel like he's kind of a guy that could just pick up and go, but would you guys be a little bit leery of that if he held out for most of camp, came in late? Josh?
I've always for quite a few years, I've been leery of anybody that holds out, all camp long and up till right at the start of the season. But Jamar Chase did that the year before, and then he came on and had a freaking amazing year. And I know not everybody's Jamar Chase, but you can see on there, me and Dan took Terry McLaurin in the third round. And it was one of those things. All right, he's a veteran player. He's going to pop right in. I don't know that I really want to. I don't love when guys miss Stafford, for example. Missed all preseason. I know they're veterans, but it makes me leery of them. I don't know. I guess you see how far they fall, and because everybody's got value somewhere. And if Pickens was to hold out in training camp or whatever, maybe wouldn't be totally off of him because there's going to be a spot where he's right in its value. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything, whether he is okay with that or not.
Yeah, I read some things like Dak's been kind of talking to him. So I think he's got that leadership there. I don't foreseeing it being a huge problem. He's making $27 million. So
I was gonna say I don't think so either because he's getting a good yearly salary here for the year. He had perhaps his best production as an NFL pro this past year with Dallas. So can expect a similar type of season. Obviously CD is still their number 1 wide receiver, but Pickens ain't that far behind.
Dak restructured his contract yesterday.
I will say this though: are you guys worried about Tucker Kraft at all?
I'm not really
coming off the injury.
Yeah, I don't think I am because I don't know if a lot of Tucker Kraft's game is after the catch, but I think it affects more receivers and running backs than does tight ends. Who is that tight end for the Redskins? Oh, Logan Thomas. Remember he tore his ACL and he had that huge freaking knee brace on, and he was still pretty productive. So, I mean, I feel like I trust Kraft. I feel like he'll be their number 1 weapon. It's just kind of where he is in his rehab. But if he's going to be back for week 1, I mean, early in training camp, then I really don't have an issue with it. I think I'd target him again. I mean, I love his talent. He was such a great value last year, so I'd be in on him again. I don't know if you guys feel otherwise.
He's going pick ADP pick 50, round 5, pick 2, right? Beginning of round 5, tight end 6.
Wow, round 5 he's going.
That's a little early.
That's crazy.
That's FFPC ADP.
Oh, FFPC. All right, so that's a little bit bumped up.
Yeah, let me look at underdog.
How do you guys feel? I was going to bring up Jaden Reed too. How do you guys feel about Packers receivers? Are you going to go after Packers receivers? I mean, they just spread it around so damn much. It just feels like nobody's ever going to emerge as a number one guy there. I think that's the pattern we've seen the last couple of years now. I don't think that's going to change much. You guys see any change?
If Dubs is gone, which I was going to bring him up because he went in the 16th round in this draft. But if Dubs is gone, and I mean, when Christian Watson came back from Christian Watson was injured at the beginning of the season, wasn't he? Yep. Once Christian Watson came back, he really came on strong. So maybe without Dubs there, maybe Watson does kind of
that's true. Yeah,
become more of a one.
Consistent down the stretch. Yeah.
Where's Watson going, Joe?
Give me 1 sec.
Because like 4th or 5th round, I think he's a great value if he was going around there. He's probably going higher than that.
Really? Wow. I mean, he did. I always loved Watson, and he really did seem to kind of put it together last year. And he was coming off an ACL injury too. So, yeah, I mean,
give me a sec, Dan. I'm freezing up over here.
But yeah, you're right, Josh. Watson would be the guy, especially if Dobbs is gone. I'd probably be out on Jaden Reed. I think he's a little bit more gadgety. I think Watson kind of upped his game a little bit last year. And then Matthew Golden, I don't know. I don't think he's going to really – I don't know if he's like that number one guy that they – people were expecting him to be. I think he's just more of like a number 2 or number 3. But he did look better in the playoffs. Like he did actually look like the player they drafted out of Texas. So maybe that gives him some momentum. But, obviously I think Watson would be the guy. But, maybe Golden – has a strong sophomore year. You guys have any thoughts on that or no?
I don't know. I was never really in on Golden initially.
And then you still got Wicks there and freaking Bo Melton. They bring out these receivers left and right. Who's the other?
They could add.
Who's the other receiver they got there? Bo Melton. There's one more too. I'm missing his name. They keep bringing these guys out of the
so Christian Watson's ADP is pick 64, round 6, pick 4, wide receiver 30.
I like him there.
Yeah, I don't mind round 6. You look at last year. I mean, Olave was a hell of a value there, but like Diggs and Hunter, Debo, Addison, Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, I like him there. I think I like him there too.
It does sound like Dobbs is gone, so they're probably going to have to rely on Matthew Golden and Watson, and then of course Tucker Kraft will be back too. I mean, Tucker Kraft could affect Watson a little bit too. We'll see. Jacob mentions Monungai last year going in the 15th round. Obviously, he's a lot higher this year with that Bears running system and him, proving his worth. Shout out to him from North Jersey. Actually, I should have gave the guy more credit. Went from North Jersey, went to Rutgers. I doubted him all year, but for what he does, he's kind of a little bowling ball, and he's got that offensive line that opened up holes for him. And Ben Johnson knows how to freaking run the ball, so it's a great system. We'll see if they bring in anybody else, but. Are you guys kind of? I mean, I think Monungai is a pretty. If you can get a decent value on him, I don't know where he's going now, Joe, but I don't know what you guys think about him.
He's probably the first number 2 back to go off the board, unless I'm not thinking of somebody.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would target him as a running back 3 and be fine with it.
Where is he going this year? Does anybody know?
I'm looking it up right now, Steve. Give me a sec. Round 9, pick 3, RB 35.
round 9.
He's
Yeah.
dipped in the
I think-
last 14. In
I
the
think
last
that-
14 days, he's dipped.
I don't think that's a bad spot for him.
He was going. Well, he hasn't dipped much. He's only dipped about 3 picks. So yeah, 97 to 100 range, 97 102 range.
All right. All right. Anybody else want to pick anything out? Josh, you want to pick a player out of here? Last 10 rounds. Anything pop out to you?
I touched on Dubs. Wandale, he went in the 16th round also, along with Dubs in this draft, and that ended up paying off for my guy Terry.
Matthew Golden's going in the 14th round currently right now. So he's basically a decent free pick.
Yeah.
He's in that range. Let me ask you guys: is anybody interested in taking a defense early going into next year? Or are we still gonna wait for some off-season moves? Not early, but
No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna look for that streamer.
Yep.
yeah.
Patriots last year was great for like the first 8 weeks of the season. I mean, they were pretty much good all year. And like the Eagles and the freaking what was the other one? Everybody was taking last year. Eagles and the Broncos, right? I mean, it didn't work out that great, right? So
I had a lot of Rams, Seahawks, and Patriots. And I did
Yes,
actually
pretty
add
much.
I don't think I'd
Okay.
ever take a defense early. I'm always waiting until like the last couple
Yeah.
rounds.
You
I
can-
want to
you-
take my shots on those sleepers as much as
you
I
can always get a really good one that you believe in after like the first 6 or 7 have been taken. There's always one that goes undervalued.
Yeah.
I think for me, I never take defenses. I'm more about getting a kicker early, and we never do that. But man, you look at this last year, there's a couple game changers in the kicking game. Might consider out, where'd the first one go here?
It was Aubrey, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty early. 11's pretty early, but if you were to get Dallas or Seattle or even I can't remember
That's
who's
early.
third.
I couldn't personally do that. Fuck.
No, usually Dallas was like,
I think the earliest I'd ever take a kicker would be like the 18th round. Maybe I don't know. I mean, maybe Aubrey was sitting there like in the 16th, 15th, 16th. Maybe I'd take a chance on him, but I don't know. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's my
With that, with the kicking ball, and I don't know, I'd have to Google it and do some studying, but it seems like there was an insane amount of 60+ yarders last year.
look at the NFC scoring for the kickers. It's crazy.
But I'm thinking more along the lines of like round 15, 16 if it's a kicker. Going before that for a defense or a kicker, I just feel like there's too many good players there still, but not knocking on anybody that wants to take that chance. But just for me, and I mean, me and Dan draft together, so we're kind of on the same page with that.
Yeah. Aubrey was actually Jason Myers was the highest scoring kicker last year, 202 points. Then it was Fairbairn. So it's like, you never really know. I mean, Aubrey was great, but he was just third. So, I mean, you're going to pick him in the 11th round. And then, like, I don't know, Dicker was 20 points behind him. And you had Cam Little, Will Reichert. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of hard to predict. Like,
It
who the
is.
hell is going to be the number one guy year to year? I mean, Aubrey is pretty damn safe because he's going to be kicking those 60 yards. Like Myers could fall back, Fairbairn could fall back, but those guys have been pretty solid, the past couple of years too.
If you get a good kicker in a dome like Aubrey, half his games at least are in the dome.
Yeah.
Interesting stat about Kyle Benunge that I just observed looking at some of his game logs and his efficiency numbers. Only 2 games last year he surpassed 50% snap share.
Wow. Yeah, and I don't see him ever kind of being that number one guy. He's always going to be kind of a role player.
that tells me when he's on the field, the defenses are paying attention to him. That kind of hurts him a little bit because, I'm looking at this one here. He had 22 carries, but on a 43% snap share. So it's almost like it's a guarantee. That's like a guarantee he's getting the handoff. It's like easy to read. Is my point.
Yeah.
I don't know if
but they still run it effectively, even then. I mean, they run block really well, and Ben Johnson just schemes it up so well. I mean, the guy just knows how to freaking run the football. So I think that's going to stay pretty consistent. I know their center just retired, right? He was 27 years old, which is kind of crazy. But Steve G says Ricky Pearsall may be the Olave this year.
For sale?
Ricky Pearsall, yeah.
First round draft capital.
Did you ever hear that, Joe? Did you ever hear that clip when Anthony totally botched his name? Yeah.
Pearsall, yeah.
He pronounced it so wrong so many times.
And then he give you the, who gives a fuck how you say it?
But yeah, I mean, I love Pearsall. He just can't stay healthy, But if he stays healthy, I mean, he'll be a good value for sure.
I like him. People have been trying. I have him in a big dynasty league, and they're trying to get him from me. I won't give him up. They give me some bullshit offers. I need something better.
I mean, the guy got shot. He was coming off an injury, got shot, and then last year he had something tweaked in his. I think it was his knee or something.
I know he did get shot.
It just never. I was halfway joking about the getting shot part, but I think he was hurt.
But I mean, that was part of it, right? I mean, he missed.
Yeah.
The fact that he came back from that is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. If he can make it through training camp healthy, then who knows?
If they lose Ayuk, which they should, and they lose Jennings, they got to sign somebody too, I would think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know they drafted a couple guys. They were kind of waiting for some guys to come through the wings, but yeah, I think they might sign somebody. I think there's no way he's coming back, right?
Yeah,
he's got to be gone.
I don't think he's
from what I've been reading and seeing is Brandon Ayuk didn't do what he was supposed to do when he was rehabbing. And when you play at the NFL level, then you have a significant injury like he had, and you don't do what you're supposed to do, then it's really, really, really hard to get to where you need to be as far as speed and quickness and lateral movement. And that's actually a big part of his game because he was an excellent route runner. And if you take away the ability to hit your peak there, then and you to the point where you're unavailable to your team, it's a big red flag. I don't think the future's looking all that good for Ayuk.
Yeah, when you kind of are in that Shanahan doghouse at one point or another, it doesn't seem to ever work out too well. And he was kind of in that doghouse. It seemed like he got out of it, and now he's like there was definitely some animosity and resentment there.
They could be in the market for. They could be in the market for Mike Evans. That seems like a decent spot for Mike Evans to land. They're still Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's go. I guess we can go about another 5-10 minutes. Joe, you got any other names here stick out to you?
How about Troy Franklin in round 14? What do you guys expect of him this year? You think he makes another step forward and gives us a little bit more production, or does he just not get enough snap share and targets based on how that offense is?
I like Pat Bryant just a little bit more, but one of the two is going to step up.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Dan.
That's why he also couldn't stay healthy at the end of the year either.
Still trying to figure out that passing game, man. It's let me see what the ADPs are on both.
Yeah,
of these guys.
Franklin, he definitely had a nice year, a little bit inconsistent, but I feel like Bryant's kind of like that guy that Peyton wants to utilize, and we kind of were seeing that. Remember in the early in the playoffs, like they were going to him early and often.
And he got knocked out of 2 of them with
Right.
concussions.
Right, he got knocked out. No,
scares me.
yeah. I kind of feel like he might be their next guy up, the next featured guy up. He's a huge body. He's a playmaker. He's a clutch player. So that's the guy I like. I would take him over Franklin. But if Franklin's going a couple rounds later, I don't mind going after Franklin. I thought he kind of stepped up too.
So Franklin's going in the same range.
Yeah. So I like Bryant personally.
Let me see Pat Bryant.
Cortland Sutton's still there, right? I don't think he's leaving. I mean, they signed him to a pretty good deal, right? So he's going to be there probably for another year or two, or maybe at least one more year. I don't know if I trust Cortland Sutton anymore, though. What do you guys think? He was pretty underwhelming last year. Man.
Pat Bryant's going later than Franklin by 3 rounds. Basically free. He's probably undrafted in some leagues.
Yeah, Steve, man. There was a lot of games for Sutton, Steve, to go back to him, where he had like 3-4 targets. I can't have a number 1 receiver.
Right.
4 targets. He's got to fall to round 6 or 7 for me to think about him.
He's not as safe as he used to be. Like he was 2 or 3 years ago.
He's getting older now too. He's going to be 31 next season, basically.
That's what I was going to say. Is that a separation thing? Is that a Sutton thing, or is that on Nick's just not finding him?
I mean, part of it's got to be Nick's too. Nick's was kind of inconsistent last year as well, so I think he brings that to his wideouts, a little bit. But it was the he had back-to-back double-digit seasons. The last 2 years. He had 10 and then he had 8. And then he had 7. I mean, his yards was kind of the same. His numbers actually weren't all that different from 2024. I just felt like he was a little more inconsistent. It seemed like last year, definitely like Dan said, the targets were down a little bit, and he just had a bunch of games where he just didn't do anything, down the stretch, 24 yards, 59 yards, 62 yards, 62 yards. 40 yards, 5 yards against the freaking Chargers. So, yeah. I don't think I'm off Sutton. I didn't really draft him last year, and I did like Cortland Sutton a couple of years ago, but I think Pat Bryant's the name there in that offense that I want. Steve saying everybody was saying Olave with the concussions. That's true. Olave was a hell of a value. So that's another thing, Again, you go against the grain when everybody's saying, "Oh, Stafford's got the back problem," and people were off Cup in the end of the first round. Olave, the concussions, their quarterback situation's terrible, which, it was. But I thought they were going to go with Shuck from the beginning. I was kind of surprised they went with Rattler, but Rattler did play better than he did in his first year. He just was still terrible. So they had to go to Shuck, and Shuck really elevated Olave a lot. So, you just go against the grain and you get the value. Darnell Mooney to the Niners, possibly. Darnell Mooney, I don't know. He's had 1,000-yard season with the Bears. That was with Justin Fields. He's always hurt. I don't know. I can't trust. I can't take that. I'm done with Darnell Mooney. I can't do it anymore. I don't know how you guys feel about Darnell Mooney.
I'm a fan, but like you said,
I was a fan. I'm just off the Darnell Mooney now.
I don't know. I don't know if I can trust him for my fantasy team anymore. Though the same,
yeah. Trey Harris, 14th round here, another year now with the Chargers. That's a name that's going to be elevated up. That's a guy that could kind of emerge there. Keenan Allen's probably, I don't know. Is Keenan Allen, did he retire yet, or what's he doing?
He's a free agent.
Okay, he's a free agent.
Then you got Quentin's on the trade block from what I've read a couple different times today.
Wow,
that could be interesting.
It doesn't surprise me because Trey Harris.
Just rumors,
they're selling high on QJ, I guess.
I love Trey Harris this year.
I do too. He's such that's that round 14, round 15 wide receiver range too. He could hit big time if that offensive line stays healthy.
Yeah, Kyle Williams, Joe. What do you think about him? I think he's going to get a bigger presence now with Diggs out of the way, or you got to wait to see what they do. But
yeah, I do, but I'm still not trusting him for fantasy. Maybe I'll pick him here and there. I'll sprinkle him in, but I don't think I have that much high hopes for him, and unless something happens to Booty as well. Maybe if Booty misses time, or like you said, we got to see what they do make for moves. If they get Alec Pierce, then I'm kind of would be more in on Kyle Williams just for the fact because I don't think Alec Pierce is somebody that's going to get 8 or 9 receptions per game. Yeah. He's a solid player, but he's not that type of a wide receiver in my opinion. And I think it could open the door in that scenario. It could open the door for Kyle Williams to be a little bit more productive. He's still going to be inconsistent in year 2, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll sprinkle him in, but I don't have high hopes for him to be consistent.
All right. Let's do one more each, then we'll get out of here. Josh, I'll start with you. And then if you want to give everybody, maybe if you could think of like one lesson learned that kind of sticks out from last year to end it, you could do that as well.
All right. Nelson getting Harold Fannin with the last pick in the draft. That's nice.
Yeah, that was something I was definitely doing too. Wow.
Yeah, it. I don't know. And then as far as lessons learned, for me, one of my goals this offseason is really try to get a better grip on the play calling, the coaches, where what the schemes are, and then if I could figure out what guys are going to stay healthy, that'd be great.
Clip that.
Only players who don't get hurt.
I mean, the play calling, I mean, it could kind of work both ways. Sometimes, I guess when the narrative gets too much, like the Kenny Walker thing and the Kubiak thing,
the tendencies and things like that, just understanding what these coaches have done in the past and with these new teams and this and that, because there's been a lot of shakeup and
Steve G saying Allen and Mixon selling solar panels this year. The Dust in the Wind Corp. Yeah, maybe you'll see him knocking on your neighborhood doors pretty soon. Those solar guys are pretty aggressive, that's for sure. All right, Dan, what do you got, man? Same thing, if you pick out one more player and maybe a good lesson learned.
A name I'm really interested here went in the 16th round. Doesn't sound like Seattle's going to re-sign Shaheed at all. Cooper Kupp's a year older. You got the Alpha JSN on one side. I'm interested in Torrey Horton. I don't know what I think about him yet, but just an interesting player, just a name to throw out there. I'd be curious to see what you guys think about him. And my lesson is, man, I don't care if you're high stakes or playing in a $10 league, just trust your gut. Twice in the last 2 years, I've been really high on somebody and went to Vegas, drafting with all these awesome guys and talked myself out of a player that they were off of, and I was right. And I kicked myself for that. I'd rather be wrong. I'd rather miss on a guy that I was right on. Am I saying that right? Than be wrong on somebody else that I draft from watching these guys. Brian Thomas was my example last year. I went out there. I was off him, watched all these guys draft him 6, 7, and we take him in 2 drafts. So just trust your gut. Go with your guys. I mean, we all watch the same game. We all have the same info. Go with what you know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, if you're really in on a guy and you have that gut feeling, you get scared off by, maybe you get on Twitter too much or people are just staying away from him, just kind of go against that grain, stick with the guy that you believe in. And even if it's a guy that's not really on somebody's radar, like Harold Fannin, he kind of came on the radar later on. But that was a guy, when I watched him the first time, I'm like, this guy is going to be freaking good. I mean, he was just like a freak out there. And then, you go on Twitter and people are like, oh, he's not that athletic. I'm like, what? I mean, I don't understand how you watch him and think that. And then, Jamie was with, his mom at the expo. So that only delivered it even more. So, you look for the signs sometimes too. There's certain signs as well. All right, Joe, what do you got, man?
I think Keyshawn Booty in the round 20 was a smash pick last year. I see that by Team One now. Lessons learned. Couple things for me. My early convictions. I need to stick with a little bit better as we get into August. And I'm doing more drafts. That's another thing. This year, I am going to dial back a little bit. I had 24 managed teams last year, 9 high stakes. I think I'm going to and not that I couldn't handle it, but when the season was over, I was just burnt out from it. All the waiver grind and all the lineups. I had to take a whole month off of doing my own show because it was just burnt out. Normally, I immediately get into the deep dive in the metrics, the snap shares, the efficiencies, see where some of the predictive stats. That way I can go once the off-season moves happen. All those numbers are already fresh in my brain, and I can process, how I think these moves are going to affect the people properly. I'm usually more deeper in that. I'm a little bit behind in that right now. So just taking notes to myself. I don't want to be that burnt out where I can't get started in 2028 or 2027 rather. So I'm going to downgrade a little bit, and it's going to make me not want to fluctuate who I'm drafting too much. It's going to allow me to stay closer to my early convictions and guys who I truly believe in, and it's going to be a little more consistent for my roster builds. I'm not going to kind of do too much. I also want to get better at the KDS. I thought, I'm good at KDS, but last year I was off. I read the board wrong as far as where the pockets were going to be. That's always a goal of mine, is to really pay attention to the ADP, the current ADP, like the up to date last 10 to 20 drafts, and then compare it with like the 10 to 20 drafts before that. See which pockets and where on the board that's opening up, and try to time it right to land a pick where you can manipulate and reach a little bit and be in the right spot for guys to follow you at the same time. This is an art to figure out how to do that. And that's why I love KDS, because if you study it properly and you come up with that strategy where you can identify the pocket and what side of the board you want to be on which given week that you're drafting based on the ADP landscape moving, it gives you an edge in these drafts, because everybody's a solid drafter. So you want the decisions to be as easy as possible. You want the guys that you feel strongly about to fall into your lap a little bit more easier, and then reach when you have to. You know what I mean? You're not going to reach all the time, because then you're giving up too much value. But you be able to reach when you have to, and then put together the build that the unique build you're trying to do. And that's basically it for me as far as lessons learned. It's just got to be a little bit better about trusting my early convictions, condensation with my teams a little bit. They can help make better decisions for me in each different draft, and it'll help me avoid making mistakes and missing out on like Chris Olave, for instance. I was picking Chris Olave, but I wish I was picking way more of him. And because of that, the variance, the how many drafts I was doing, I was trying to sprinkle in some other guys. So I think I'm going to go back to the well, downgrade the teams a little bit, stick with my guns, only adjust where they need to. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you on. I mean, we got Steven here, and he's got more teams than any of us. But I was in like 40, 50 leagues with home leagues last year. It was just too much for me too. Like it was just, I was going through some personal stuff too, so maybe that kind of weighed on me as well. But I don't know if I could do that anymore. I think I got to cut down a little bit. Maybe try to cut out some home leagues, and maybe cut out some 350s, and maybe do a couple more prime times just to, cut it down that way as well. So I do think, I did feel kind of burnt out towards the end. I mean, these guys, like Nelson, Steve, they have, hundreds of teams. I don't know how the hell they do it. Steve, you gotta
62.
we will get you on. We'll get your thoughts on that, man, and your process eventually. But yeah, I think that if you feel like it's helpful for you, I think that's a good strategy.
Well, I think there's a threshold. Like if you're not doing over 20 or over 30, then like 15 doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You may as well do like a little bit less and just hammer your guys. And and hopefully you get teams through that. If you nail it, you get teams through that way. You have multiple teams at the top of the board, but obviously things got to go right, and you got to see the whole picture and pick the right guys. So
yeah, I mean, and that's kind of, I mean, I don't know. Again, the Puka thing for me, and he's on the thumb. I got him in one. I think I had like one or two teams of Puka last year. It was just like I didn't feel great about him the end of the first round. Again, the Stafford thing, the Devontae Adams presence. But I should, I just bought into that Stafford back. So that's just like, you gotta take some risks here, and you can't pass up on a player like Puka Nacua, who's just so deadly, and he plays in a system with Sean McVay. Like it really, now I think about it, it was just like a no brainer. And then, you're betting on guys like Genty. You see him go ahead in this draft, Sousa gets him in. Again, these guys are mixing it up too, so you can't really go by this, but for the most part, Genty was going ahead of Puka, and Genty's a hell of a player, but there was still uncertainty. We didn't realize how bad their offensive line was going to be, and how bad Geno Smith was going to be. I mean, he was a complete disaster. I mean, the offensive line played a part, but he was an absolute. I mean, you could kind of, I don't know what he was doing, like talking all this, like he's the greatest. Like you guys remember that? Like opening week, he's like talking shit to the fans and everything. Like he was all over the place. But anyway, it's just, you bet on the known rather than the unknown, especially in the first couple rounds sometimes. Even Bucky Irving, like I love Bucky Irving. And I feel like if he didn't get hurt, he would have been much better. But still, like it's still a little bit of an unknown because it was just 1 year with him. Whereas Jonathan Taylor, who I did go after, and I always loved Jonathan Taylor. Like I've been a huge Jonathan Taylor guy, and I did have him on some big teams, but I definitely should have drafted more Jonathan Taylor, especially some spots where he was going. Christian McCaffrey, Joe, I don't know if you remember that draft we did when he slipped into the second round and I didn't take him. That's something I will never do again when a player of his caliber is slipping, because again, injury concerns, people are just, it was early on. People are just kind of, that's just the way the draft went. Sometimes you're going to be in a room where it goes like that. So you want to take advantage of that ADP. Whereas the guy's normally going to go in the first round. If he slips into the second round and you're doing quite a few drafts, if you can get that value with a player like that, that's where you want to take him. So that's something I'll definitely switch up. But yeah, I mean, really just banking on the guys that have been consistent, like the Amon-Ra's, like the Pukas, like, these guys are just going to deliver year in and year out, rather than taking, some of these rookies that pop up, or, maybe guys that had a huge rookie season, like the Brian Thomases, like the Lab McConkeys. Now, it's not always going to work like that, but I just feel like it's safer. I mean, these first year guys could blow up in the second year, but I do just feel like, you take those guys that just done it 2, 3, 4 years in a row. They're still relatively young, still in the same system. Nothing's much changed. The coaching still the same. They're still featured. I just feel like It's just money in the bank. And if you just continue to build your teams with those guys, especially in the first 2 rounds, right? We all know the second round could be kind of tricky. You can get burnt in the second round a lot. So even the 3rd round. So I just think looking for those consistencies, you want to take some risks, on some rookies here and there, but I think I'm going to play a little more close to the cuff. It's just funny. I'm thinking back some of those early drafts, man. I had so much Najee Harris and Brian Robinson. Like, it was disgusting. So, I don't know. But again, if Najee would have stayed healthy, he probably would have been fine. He got hurt. So what can I say? And then Brian Robinson got traded off the Commanders. That changed his whole situation up too. I had the best handcuff in fantasy, or one of the best handcuffs in fantasy, but McCaffrey stayed healthy all year. So it just didn't work out. So I don't know if that was really a bad process on my part, or just kind of what happened, switched up. But yeah, I mean, I'm still going to go after my guys. I think if I believe in players, I'm just going to go after them even harder. Even if I have, 60, 70% share, like I did that a couple of years ago with Dobbins and Chubb was out for the year and Dobbins was out for the year within the first 4 weeks, and it absolutely just destroyed me because I had so many but you know what? I'll go back to the well. I'll go back to the well with that. Cause if you hit on something like that and those guys produce, you're going to have a really good year. Obviously it could burn you too. But I just feel like I feel more comfortable just going with the guys I really, really believe in. Instead of taking some chances on some guys that I don't believe in. So that's pretty much it. This was a good show, guys. I think we got an hour and a half here. We talked about the free agency. We got the lessons learned. Coming up soon, we'll get into free agency. That's kicking off hard now in the next couple of weeks. And we'll have a March Madness. I think we're going to talk about the conference tournaments here with my other boy, Josh here, a huge college basketball guy. And then we'll break down the tournament every week as we get to the Final Four. So stay tuned to that. Steve G says we are sick degenerates. Good night. 162 teams. That can't be. That's insane. Me and Nelson are going to draft and do 400 teams this year. Wow. I don't know. I mean, if you can manage it, man, we got to figure out what your process is, Steve. That's got to be an all-day thing, every day, every week. So yeah, we'll get you on, man. Appreciate you jumping in again. Number 1 fan of the show. One of the best fantasy players out there, doing a good job as well. So appreciate all you guys, Josh, Joe, and Dan. Do you guys got anything to add before we get out of here?
Nah, this was a good show. It was a pleasure talking football with you guys once again. Great to see y'all. I hope we can do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll try to be back next week. I think we should be back next week. We'll try to go once a week, until the season kicks up. Then we can maybe bump it up to one more.
I think Wednesday's free agency. Thursday might be another great show.
Yeah. So we'll plan on Thursday again next week. Another free agency show. If it works for everybody, hopefully we can get Joey and Mike back in. We'll see what their schedules are. But again, like, subscribe, share. Appreciate all the listeners. Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of the week and a great weekend. See you later.